But then I deployed and I went to a lovely place in Africa called Djibouti.
What, Djibouti?
Djibouti, Africa. It's a place.
Djibouti,
Yep.
Africa. Who knew that that was a
Djibouti.
place?
I'm just trying to be the hardest. I'm just trying to be the hardest. I'm just trying
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds. And I'm your host, Caleb. Got Trey here. We got Mr. Cameron Miller as our guest. But I hope you guys been enjoying our episodes as of late. And it's been an awesome time to get on here and chop it up with everybody. But we have a very special guest on our show today. We have Mr. Cameron Miller, Master Sergeant in the Air Force, and also a longtime military Air Force One mechanic. So pretty cool story and pretty cool guy. And now he is Master Sergeant. He has like 100 kids, I think. No, I think he has like 10 kids. But he's just an amazing person, and we wanted to spotlight him. But Cam, how are we doing, brother?
Too good, man. Too good. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be on and talk with you guys and share a little bit about my story, and hopefully we can change some lives.
Let's do it. Trey,
Absolutely.
what's up with you, man? What's been going on in your neck of the woods?
Just hanging out, man. I got some really cool people looking to chat with us. They've seen some of our stuff. They wanna chat. So looking forward to where this is going. We're gonna be able to connect a lot of cool people and help hopefully inspire a lot of people in doing that. And, just hearing a little bit of a Cam story is inspiring and stuff. So I'm excited to kick this one off with him.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive in. We talk about beating the odds. Cam, you have definitely beat the odds when it comes to your family. You got 10 kids now. So, how do you do it? First off, well, we know how you did it, but how do you do it?
How do I stay sane while doing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There, that's a better question.
Yeah, yes, Caleb is right. I have 10 kids. My oldest is 13, and they're all just kind of like stair step down from there. We just had little Peter back in December, and that was super cool. But honestly, man, like, first of all, my wife is amazing. She is the most incredible human being that I've ever known, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life, and she means the world to me. I love her. Actually, I should probably give her a pay raise now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, but no, she's
Only
incredible.
after only after the 10th kid she gets a pay raise. If she hadn't
Exactly,
hit that 10th.
exactly. Yeah, but I definitely couldn't do life without her. I wouldn't be able to have this, time in the Air Force without her. I wouldn't be able to, help people reach their financial goals as well without her support and everything. She's just amazing, and I love her. But yeah, so it started off when we got married. We said we wanted four, and then we got to number three, and then we were like, is our next one the last one? We're like, man, I don't know. And it just didn't sit right with us. Something just didn't, I don't know. It didn't sit right in our spirit. And we were like, well, I don't know. Let's do some more research into this. And so we were like, in the Bible, we're just reading about everything. We're praying about it. We're talking with people. We're doing a bunch of research and looking into everything. And dude, just like everywhere I found in the Bible talking about kids, it just said to, be fruitful and multiply. Check. We did that.
Check.
Check. Yeah. And but it just
Fruitful
always
as
said, yeah, and it just says that, children are a blessing. It says that a man with many children is like a warrior with a quiver full of arrows. And Jesus would tell the disciples, let the kids come to me, and he would welcome them into his teaching and into his time. And so it just really changed our mindset of children, because so many times nowadays people look at kids as burdens. They look at them as holding them back from their dreams. They look at them as getting in the way of what they're wanting to. But when we changed our mindset to viewing our kids as blessings, like, dude, it changed everything. And now, like, I love them, and we're not planning on stopping. So who knows? There might be even some more Miller blessings in the future, but we love them, man, and they're incredible, and they're just, yeah, amazing little human beings. I love them.
That's not so. When you say okay, 10 kids, 13 and younger. I mean, it's like there's like no skipping a beat on that 1 year timeline, man. You're just
We had a gap between my fifth and my sixth, but I was deployed, so that's where we.
Yeah, well, I think everyone watching this is like, more power to you and your wife, Cam, right? Like everybody else is like, I can barely keep up with one or two, let alone 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Trey, we both have four, and it's like,
dude, you combine us. We
yeah,
ain't
we're
even
still
caught
not
him yet, dude.
we're still not keeping up with that. But no, dude, that's super cool. So Master Sergeant in the military. Let us know what does that even mean, right? What does that entail? I know you're a Master Sergeant. We'll probably get into some of the Air Force
I'm
story.
sorry. Can you hang on 1 second? Someone's at
Oh,
my door.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh
But
man,
as he
10.
yeah, it's probably a kid that he's got to go. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe not. Is a kid, but Trey, 10 kids, man. I mean, what are we doing?
Now I feel bad for only having 4.
Right. Yeah. He's like quiver full of arrows. Like you suck as a parent if you don't have at least 10 kids.
Well, you know what happens too though is as your kids get older, your older kids can help and chip in with a lot of stuff as
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
I literally I saw a thing today that I sent to my brother. He's my son, my brother. My brother only has one kid, right? And he's 35. And they're talking about having a second one, but they're on the fence. And I'm sitting there and I had a thing that came up and it said, with your last, I'm going to butcher it, but it says with your last kid, it's their first. A lot of their firsts are going to be your lasts. And that kind of hit me because I'm like, with my other ones, I've got, about to be 12, 10, 8, just turned 3. And, I was talking to my parents the other day. I was like, I'm so glad I have Durham coming up through this phase because you get all these memories popping up of your other kids that are, grown up now. And I'm like, man, I missed that stage. But then, I got one coming up and then through that. And, my mom was like, yeah, she's like, but we need another baby in the family, like, 3. And then my brother's son, he's, just turned 2. But it's like, we need another newborn. Like, we need another baby in the family. I'm like, well, that's his job. I got 4. Like I was telling Kay when he got up, I was like, I feel bad now. You got 10. You're making me feel like I'm slacking with 4. I'm just like, man, let them go have more kids. I got 4. And it's crazy. I couldn't imagine 10, man. But everything you said is 100% a blessing. 100%.
Yeah, man. And kind of what you were talking about earlier too. Now that like our older ones, they're like a lot more capable now. They're so helpful and they're so involved in everything that we're doing. And it's
That's
cool
awesome.
because like, now they get to see how Becca, my wife Becca, now they get to see how Becca and I do things, and now they get to kind of emulate it in their own lives. And it's at the point now where I could ask them to like, hey, can you guys make lunch really quick? And they're on it and they can handle it. So it's really cool watching them get older and growing, and yeah, watching our family get older as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Getting older and getting bigger. So
Exactly.
continue to grow. But yeah, let's get back into
Yep.
military, you guys
Yep.
been a military family for a while now. So Master Sergeant currently, of course, financial professional as well. But then, Air Force mechanic. So yeah, let's hear a little bit about that journey. What was that like?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I've joined back in December 2013, is when I went to basic training and came in as a open mechanical, meaning like I don't know what my job's going to be, something mechanic related. And they tell me you're going to be a crew chief. And I'm like, what the heck is a crew chief? I don't know. And then they're like, you're gonna work on C-130s. And I'm like, what the heck is a C-130? I don't know. And then so I find out what a crew chief is. It's kind of like the overall mechanic of the aircraft. You're responsible for, changing tires, monitoring forms, identifying issues, troubleshooting problems within the aircraft. And you're kind of just the overall main guy for the plane. And then the C-130 is just an incredible aircraft. It's the smaller cargo plane with the 4 fans of freedom on it, and but it's a super cool plane. And I was stationed out of Moody Air Force Base in Georgia, and I was there for a while working on C-130s. We were part of a search and rescue mission, and we did some awesome stuff in that unit. And So did lots of trips, doing missions, got to work with like SEAL Team 3. That was pretty cool. Did
Nice.
multiple trips to Vegas where we did this exercise called Red Flag, where we just kind of simulate war games and things like that. That was pretty cool. But then I deployed and I went to a lovely place in Africa called Djibouti.
What, Djibouti?
Djibouti, Africa. It's a place.
Djibouti,
Yep.
Africa. Who knew that that was a
Djibouti,
place?
Djibouti, Africa, spelled Djibouti. So yeah, Djibouti, Africa, and not not a very fun environment to be in.
Man,
So
that place is booty.
right, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was rough, man. I was out there for about 6 months, and while I was out there, I got an email that said, "Hey, Sergeant Miller, we're looking for crew chiefs to come work on Air Force One. And
That's sick.
if you're interested, put in an application and see if you qualify." So I was like, dude, that sounds amazing. So I put in an application just to see what would happen. And I got it and I got selected for it. So came to Andrews, Joint Base Andrews in Maryland in 2018. So I got there for the last couple of years of Trump's first administration. And that was just an incredible mission to be a part of, man. It was that plane is beautiful. It is so gorgeous, and it was cool being a part of the everyday operations to help keep it looking that way. And it was really neat getting to be a part of the president's travel everywhere he went. Like we saw him every time he flew, and just being around that type of environment was really awesome to be around.
Now, did you go with him, or did you try not maybe not necessarily travel in Air Force One, but did you travel whenever he went to different cities to make sure everything was good while he was there, so he's getting back, or did you stay or did you stay at Andrews?
So me personally, I did not. We did have other mechanics that would fly with the plane on the missions, and yeah, they would fix it whenever it landed or anything like that. I was
Cool.
mostly the ground teams when they came back, and then I took over our tool room, and that's where we have all of our support equipment and everything that we would use to fix the aircraft and all of our vehicles and everything there. And that's where like my leadership really started to step up because now I was in charge of something. And while I was in there, that's where I made Master Sergeant. That's the first level of like senior leadership within the Air Force. And so yeah, it's been pretty cool. And I don't work on Air Force One anymore now. My time there was over. I'm starting a new position now as a Airman Leadership School Commandant. It's a pretty cool title. But in the
Sounds
military,
fancy.
yeah, I know, right? It's not that big a deal. But in the Air Force, before you become a staff sergeant, it's like the first level of leadership. You have to go through Airman Leadership School, and it's where we teach airmen the principles of leadership. We teach them how to communicate effectively, everything, how to just how to be good leaders all around. And so I'm going to be managing the entire schoolhouse where they're going to be learning all that, and I'm pretty excited about it, man.
Nice. Now, I do have one question.
I'm
How
ready.
many Air Force Ones are there?
Okay. So you can Google all this stuff too, by the way. But
The
there,
reason so here, let me give you backstory. So the reason I'm asking, so my first year with the company, all right, with WFG, I got my license in May. This is in July. We were in a conference up in DC, and from our what's the name of it? Oh, I forget the name of the hotel. It was a massive hotel.
probably the Gaylord.
Yep, thank you. I'm like, man, there's one in Nashville, and I always forget the name. All right, so we're in Gaylord, right? And we look out, and across the bay is Air Force One, sitting on like an empty tarmac by
Oh yeah.
itself. And I'm like, we're like, how many planes are there? And
Okay,
or
so
is
that
that
one was
one? Is
the
it just
fake
being
one.
is it just being like being worked on or
Yep.
something?
Nope. So that one was the fake one. That was a static display that they had in the National Harbor for a while. But the real ones, the actual Air Force ones. So there's two of them
Okay,
that we have, and yeah, they're really awesome aircraft. Very fancy. I could tell you all sorts of stories about vacuuming the inside of the plane for 12 hours and snipping carpet fibers that were up too high, and just like
Wow.
Lots of detail, lots of precision. Everything we did was like to the max, making it look incredible. Very presidential, you know?
Very presidential.
Wow. Yeah. I know that we just had the election and everything. Have you ever been to an like, were you able to be at any inaugurations, or what is that process like in DC with that particular like election and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I didn't go to any elections, but as members of Air Force One, we get invited to all the different White House events. So my
That's
wife,
cool.
yeah, she got to go to like a Mother's Day tea that Melania Trump was
Yeah.
holding, and that was a really cool experience. She had such a good time there. And then we got invited to Halloween at the White House one year, so that was pretty cool. Bringing the kids all dressed up and getting candy from the president, like how cool is that, right?
Go trick or
Dude, those
treat
are
at the White House. That's
Yeah.
like, imagine being able to trick or treat at the White House. I didn't know that was a,
Right? Yeah.
that's pretty.
Yeah, yep. And then we would go to like Christmas at the White House, and they had it all decorated all beautifully and everything, and that was, yeah, it was really cool to be a part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know me and Trey were like military. I mean, I've had family that's been in the military, and of course, appreciate all, your service, and anybody watching that's military, appreciate everything that you guys do. But it kind of reminds me of the grind in baseball with the MLB. Like, you're always traveling, you're getting deployed, you're moving city to city. I mean, you went all the way to Djibouti, Africa, like there's different places you go to. But what is that like? I know how it is traveling and playing professional sports, but for you, what was the travel like? Not knowing which city you're going to be in, where you're going to be deployed. I mean, even now, continue to travel.
Mm.
What's that like in the military, and how do you stay positive? I mean, being away from your family, things like that. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, for sure. So we're from Southern California originally. Beautiful, nice weather, Southern California, nice sunny 70-degree all the time, right? So when I found out that I was going to be stationed in Georgia, we were like, Georgia, like the South? What? And
all that
so we
humidity,
flew.
the
Yeah,
bugs.
humidity, like what? Yeah, man, and we flew into Valdosta Airport, a little airport down there, and it was in the middle of July, and I remember getting off of the plane and that humidity
Hits
just
you.
you and like Becca and I looked at each other and we're just like we live here now. Like this isn't like we're in town visiting for a week and then we're leaving. Like no, like this is home now. We're like, oh man. So that was definitely a shock. And then yeah, going from Georgia, then from Georgia, now we're stationed up at Maryland, and we've been there for about 6 years now, and about to be there for a little bit longer with this new job. But just being in step with your spouse is what gets you through it, man. Becca and I have had so many deep conversations about, our goals and what we're doing and being in the right mindset. And the whole time I was deployed, like that was rough, but Becca had everything under control. We made sure finances were taken care of. We made sure that, everything was good. And she would reassure me and she would tell me, like, hey, we're all good here. Like, everything's fine. You don't need to worry about us. Everything's good. And knowing that everything was good back home gave me so much peace of mind and allowed me to focus on the mission and be able to, like, be effective at my job and like take care of the people I was responsible for, take care of the aircraft, make sure that everything was good. And yeah, just having my spouse on board and giving reassuring me that everything was good, like that I was ready to go face the world knowing that.
Yeah, dude, that is a true blessing. I mean, so not growing up in the military world. My grandfather served, but growing up in the sports world and then wanting to coach. My sister coaches, but always hearing that word like a coach's spouse, how important that is, because you can get fired. Let's say you're at University of Tennessee, you get let go, and then you pick up a job over in Clemson, or you're down in Georgia, like you're picking up and you're moving. And they talk about the importance of a coach's spouse and what it takes and the sacrifice and the time it takes away from the family, the travel, all that kind of stuff. I mean, in the military, I mean, that's to the nth degree as well. I mean, you lived it. And to have listen to you talk about Rebecca, man, I feel so happy for you, because I know that when there's a not saying your wife is a burden, but when there's a problem at home, or that mindset or that communication is broken down, it makes it harder to go do your mission, to go do your job, because you're torn. You're like, man, I got this going on, but I know I got this going on back home. And if there's quarrels there's something's not right. I mean, it's very, very hard. And so listen to you talk about that, man, that's powerful. And that's key. And a lot of people don't understand, like, the most important decision you're gonna make in your life is Jesus Christ, right? Understanding and who he is and what he's done for you. But the second most important decision and financial decision is, who do you choose as your partner? Who's in the trenches with you day in, day out? Who are you going to be able to build and grow and love to where you're on the same page and you become one flesh, and you're able to knock that out? So hearing you talk about that with Rebecca, man, like, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only just build and become one flesh, but have a bunch of other little fleshes pop out.
Yes.
Which is
Yes,
awesome.
there's many times you get a call like, I'm outnumbered, get home. Like, I need reinforcements, man.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So let's switch gears a little bit. I know you've been able to travel and do some cool things and being in the military, but where are your, you talked about some of the goals you have and some of the things uh, that you and Rebecca have talked about. But what are some of the big goals that you have? What are some of the things that you're pushing for? Kind of what's that future look like? Where are you headed? What are some things you guys want to accomplish? And what are those things look like for you guys?
Yeah, man. It's interesting because the goals have definitely changed, and it's interesting going through life and experiencing goals changing. So I'm at 11 years right now in the Air Force, and if you get to 20 years, you can retire from the military, and then you get a military paycheck for the rest of your life, right? And so, anytime you're over 10 years, people say that you're over the hump. So they just assume that you're going to stick it out to retirement, right? And I've
Easier
had a
said
lot
than done.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people have told me like, "Oh man, you're on such a great trajectory in the military," and like, "Oh, you're definitely going to retire strong," and everything. But yeah, man, all those goals kind of changed though. Ever since I found World Financial Group, it really changed my perspective on things and really changed how I view things. I have 3 years left in my current enlistment, and now that I've found this team with Caleb and Trey, like it's so cool being a part of this, and I see this as a way for me to spend the next 3 years really like building up my own business and kind of setting this up to be like a good exit strategy for me to eventually come out of the military and roll into this business, and spending the next 3 years really building up this business. I'm excited about the future of this, and Beck and I have talked a lot about it, and we're both on board with growing this and growing this team. And I love what we do. I love helping people reach their financial goals and just watching them grow in their own development as well. So yeah, the goal is to man, really build up this business, come out of the military strong, and roll into this full time. Because I mean, I got a whole bunch of kids. I want to be able to spend time with them. I don't want to. I don't want to keep getting deployed and sent all over the place. I want to be able to have more time freedom with them and be able to enjoy my time with them.
Absolutely. You're speaking the language of why. That's why I'm here. I mean, I running the furniture store, running the digital marketing company. I was looking to add more furniture stores. I was looking to expand the digital company, but I knew in taking all that in is going to take more time away from the kids. And so, you're always like that. We're at that, as I can't speak from a woman's side, but as from the husband, the dad side, it's like we're called to protect and provide, but also be present. And then we got our mental health and our physical health, and like you feel like you're being pulled in so many different ways. And it's so important to understand that, like as a parent, you only have those impressionable years for X amount of time. And then you're luckily enough, if you're lucky enough, you really get to experience your kids as adults. That's where that goes. But it's like, if you can find an opportunity where you can replace your income and make good money, become your own boss, make your own schedule to where you can tailor your job around your life versus your life around your job, to me, it's a jackpot. And that's why I got into this.
Love it. And I was talking about this with Caleb before, but like you can look up military pay scales online. You can look up how much a chief master in E9 makes. You can look up how much a general makes. Okay. So I know how much I could make, like the most that I could make in the military as a chief master sergeant. Okay. I know what that is. And I know what it takes to get there. It
What is
takes
it again? What is the just for anybody watching that's curious? What's the
yeah,
most you can make?
um
Is it
I don't
like
know off the top of my
200,000
head.
or something? 220,000?
Yeah, it was like 220
But it
220,000 a
takes
year.
you what, like 20 years to get there or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fast burner getting after it, maybe 15, but I know what it takes to get there. I know the time away from your family. I know the commitment to the mission, no matter what your personal beliefs are. Like it takes a lot to
Hmm.
get to that point. And I saw World Financial Group as an opportunity for me to like get to a point where I could be making even more than a chief potentially and have more time freedom and be doing something that's really serving um, others and helping them reach their goals and something that my family can join me in and something that I'm sure eventually as the kids get old enough we'll get them all coded and get them licensed and bring them on the team too. But
So you got your own. I was talking, I brought my three older kids to the Prosperity Bowl, and they got to kind of see it on a bigger scale. They've seen some stuff, but they got to see
nice.
it on a bigger scale, and they're sitting there going, and people are walking across the stage. You're seeing income milestones and promotions and everything. They're sitting there going, how much? How much did he make in a month? What did he make that? And they're sitting there going, how old do you got to be to do this? And I'm like, you got to be 18. And my 12-year-old about to be 12, he was just like, but you can get a job when you're like 14 or 15. I said, you can, but not in the financial services, but you got to be 18. He goes, and all three of them, they all play sports. They're like, if I don't play pro ball, I want to get in business with you, Dad. And so even as a parent, like I haven't gone down that road yet, but hearing them talk about that on the ride home from Nashville, I'm going, man, I have an opportunity to build a business where my kids can join me and I get to help them build their business. Like, how cool is that?
Isn't that awesome?
Right? It's like Ken Griffey playing with his kid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's just so awesome.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's already got his senior broker team. He's already got 10 licensed agents.
I know.
Just
And
ready to go right there. Yep.
it's year after year. It's a well-oiled machine, man.
Let's go. No, it's like why go hire on and recruit other people for your business when you can just birth them, right? Like just that's
Right.
all
There we
right.
go. Every year for their 18th birthday, we'll celebrate, get licensed.
That's awesome. But
That's
no, that's cool,
initiation.
man. And the fact that you had the ability to make that decision, a lot of people and there may be some of you guys watching this where you may feel like you're stuck in that day to day and in the rat race, the 9 to 5, whatever it is you're doing. Man, there is a way out of that. There are opportunities. There's things that you can do to better yourself, to make some additional income, to do some things. But you just got to be open minded. Cam, I love like most people would think you're crazy for getting out of the military or even having a thought of that or even just the potential to do that. But answer this for maybe those that are curious, like what type of conviction do you have to even have a thought of that? I know you kind of talked a little bit about it, but like what kind of conviction to say, I'm gonna not necessarily throw away a 13-year military career to go, all in when the timing makes sense and when when you're in the position to do that where you're making multiple six figures and you got a business that you've built. But like what kind of conviction do you have to even consider that thought to come through? Like what did you hear? What did you see? Like walk us through that mindset.
Sure, man. Yeah. I definitely get a lot of people saying like, you're crazy. You're crazy. Like you have this good career going for you in the Air Force. Like I've had people tell me like, dude, you could be a chief master sergeant. Like you have what it takes. You're definitely like taking all the right steps, your mentality, your attitude for things. You could be incredible in the Air Force and you could be a chief master sergeant. Um, but then being around World Financial Group, I'll admit it took me a while. Okay. Like I was pretty skeptical. I was pretty hesitant at first, but I've been around for about a year now and just going to the events, meeting incredible people like Caleb and you, Trey, and Nick, and hearing from guys like Ed Milet and Rob Day and all these people. I'm just like, man, how cool is this? And then just thinking about like, I don't know, I heard from, one guy that he was making $120,000 a month. I was like, what? And it just makes me think like, man, imagine what we could do with $120,000 a month.
Right.
And it has me thinking, that verse really sticks with me that a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And, with as many kids as I have, that's going to be hard to do. But
Better get
with
to work.
yeah, but with this opportunity here through World Financial Group, like
It's a lot
I
more
could actually do
attainable.
that. I could
It's a
actually
lot. It's a lot more attainable.
for sure. And so I saw this just as an incredible opportunity to really be able to provide for my family. And then my wife and I were talking and we were like, okay, so if we're making all this, what would we do? And we were like, okay, we'll set up all the kids. And then we're like, okay, then we'll buy a house for our friends who have like really poured into us and mentored us our whole lives. We'll buy a house for them. Heck yeah, that'll be cool. And then we're like, then what? Huh? Like, I don't think we've ever been in a position where we've been able to think like,
Or you've had to think like it stretches that vision because
yeah,
we have that, not I want to say small minded, but I mean that limited belief of,
yeah,
oh yeah, we would do this, we would do this. And it's like, okay, but what if you had more? What if you
yeah.
had more? And it's almost like growing up, you're made to feel like you're greedy or you're evil or something's wrong if you want more. And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
Oh, yeah. Like I'd be able to do even more good. Like I'd be able to like bless even more people. Like how cool would that be? So,
And by the way, I
Exactly.
just looked up something. We're talking about like end goal and retirement and stuff like that. But the average retirement income, and this is just from Google and whatever source this is, but you guys can fact check for all the fact checkers out there.
yep.
But average retirement income for military veterans varies depending on their military status, plan, years of service. But the average annual salary for retired military as of February 2025 was $53,700 a year for 4,400 per month.
Yeah. And just think of, and this, this is what I tell my clients. The two biggest miscalculations Americans have, everybody has, when it comes to planning retirement and finding your FIN number, your financial independent number: taxes and inflation. What we think of when I talk with people, I'm like, how much would you like to make in retirement? They're like, I mean, I make, me and my wife together, we make like $8,000 a month now. They're like, I'd be cool with that in retirement. I'm like, yeah, you're talking today's dollars. I'm
Mm.
talking 20, 30 years from now. What if you want to maintain the house you live in, the car you drive, the vacations you take, the clothes you wear, what you do? That $78,000, you're going to need to be bringing in $15,000 to $17,000 a month just to maintain this. And they're going, what?
Yeah.
Like the inflation, like we don't calculate that. So even
Right.
what you just said, Caleb, that $50,000, like, dude, that's gonna be you're gonna be living on 25,000 worth
Yep.
of living when you go to retire.
And that's why most people like, and do you think most people who get out of the military, do you think they're done working after that?
Oh no.
No, of course not. As soon as they're done getting out of the military, then they usually roll right into some other government job or some other like uh, uh, for us as aircraft mechanics, like it's easy for us to roll into a job with Boeing or Lockheed Martin or somebody else, right? But
Right.
so then they just keep working until, maybe the goal is to work long enough to get another retirement. But okay, then that's another 20 years of your life after you already gave 20 years of your life to like the military. Like, man, that's just so much that you're giving and not able
And
to enjoy life.
it's hard because like what you're building, you're not building for you and your family and the next generation. Because when you're done with it, you're done with it. Yeah, you might get some residuals in retirement, but that stuff typically doesn't pass. Might pass your spouse, won't pass your kids a lot of times. And so when you're building here, you're not only what we talk about, what the Bible says, leaving, you know, um, leaving wealth and that's prosperity for your family, but you can do that here. Your business ID and your book of business and your book of agents that can pass on to your kids, can pass on to your grandkids, your great grandkids, and it can just continue to grow. It can blossom into something we can't even fathom right now.
So cool.
100%. And last few things, man, before we jump off. This has been a great just talk with you, man. This is just cool insight. But we got one thing I do want to hear is just a quick story about just something that you can share, but like it can be general knowledge, but just like a cool little insight story. And then also just share a little bit about some advice that you would give. But let's first, what good story can you tell us about just being in the military? If anybody that's been in the military, they could relate to this if you're watching this. But what are a good story that you got that you could share with the audience without giving
Okay.
too much info?
Okay. Well, I'll just go for fun. Okay. So, first of all, my time in the military has been incredible and it's been amazing. And I don't want anybody to misread what I'm saying as like I'm miserable and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because military is awesome and it provides such an incredible opportunity for people to really get some good experience and learn something awesome. But okay, so as an aircraft mechanic, I'll admit we definitely mess with each other. Okay. Just what it is. Okay. So whenever we had some new guys, so we'd be working, right? And we tell the new guys, hey, we're going to be running engines today, but we need you to collect an exhaust sample so we can send it for testing and see what that looks like. Okay. And they're like, huh? How do I do that? Like, okay, so we're going to be running engines on the aircraft down here. Okay. We need you with a trash bag over here to catch the exhaust sample. Okay.
And
That's
they
like
fall and they
they're
really
going
fall
and
for
everything.
this.
Yeah, they're like catching air with the bag and then like, okay, you gotta tie it up now. And they're like, okay, all right, I got it.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so
Yeah,
good.
a little
Exhaust
bit
with catching exhaust with the trash bag. That's
and then
hilarious.
we got to send it in for testing, make sure the engine's running clean.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's like baseball too. Go get the left-handed baseballs, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going through sports. If I'm a new at something else and they tell me something like that's not adding up, like that's initiation for something, man. I know I know what that works. I know what that
Yep.
is.
Yep. Just
No, that's funny. Get
yeah.
the exhaust samples. But if someone, I know you have a lot of cool things going for you, but for those that are maybe like figuring out where they kind of are in their life and just balancing family and work and business or whatever what we got going on, what piece of advice would you give them as far as being able to kind of balance it all with family and life and business and military and just like would you say to someone watching this if they're thinking about starting a family, new in their career, someone who's trying to get things rolling for themselves? What piece of advice from your career could you give them?
So I heard Jordan Peterson talk about this before, and it's just really stuck with me. But he's talked about how, like, the order of how we help people. And he's like, it starts with yourself, right? So you need to get yourself right. Spend time, taking care of your body, being healthy, putting good things into your mind, like making yourself the best version of yourself that you can be. Then it goes into your spouse and making your relationship with your spouse the best that it can be, and being connected on a deep level and just having a really amazing relationship with your spouse. Then it goes to your family with your children, and make sure you have a great relationship with your children, and you're pouring into them and developing them and teaching them, and that, so that way your whole family unit is really good, right? Then once your family is really good, then you pour into your environment, your atmosphere of your workspace, who you're working with, people, friends, family, community members, and everything like that. And then you can set your sights higher and everything, right? But so many times people get those out of order, and they like focus on their job instead of focusing on their family, or they focus on like stuff going on in the world, but they're not focused on like getting themselves right. And so it needs to be done in that order in order for it to be the most effective. And I would also just really encourage people to really look at everything. And if you see everybody going this way, maybe consider going this way. Because so many times the herd mentality is just going off, but then you look and everybody's complaining about how miserable they are, and they're not happy with their jobs, and they're not happy with their money, and they're not happy with everything. And it's like, well, then why is everybody still going that way? Maybe consider going this way and doing something different. And whenever I've decided to go against the grain and I've decided to do something different, it's always been better. And so I just encourage everyone to don't go with what everybody else is doing. Really focus on getting yourself right and getting your spouse, your family, get your house in order first before you go out and help others. And really consider, if everybody's going this way, maybe I should go this way.
I love it.
Well said. Hey, well, you guys heard it here first, and a perfect example of how we continue to beat the odds. So Cam, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all your knowledge and some fun stories, and keep crushing it, and super pumped up. Maybe next time you jump back on the podcast, you'll have another kid at that point.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Trey, man, always a pleasure. So much fun. But appreciate you guys tuning in to this episode. Check out the next one. And as always, guys, beat the odds.
See you guys.
Trying to beat the odds. I'm just trying to